There is a video here, guys, called Vanilla WoW is back, and I'm not talking about hardcore. Let's give this a look right here from Willy, boys.
Months, much of the talk around classic WoW has been surrounding the hardcore scene.
Definitely has.
A ton of people have been trying it out and seeing what makes it so popular for themselves. And though we do now have official servers confirmed, their release is still sometime later this summer, leaving much to be discussed as to what will or will not be allowed. But
surely the PTR will come out soon, guys, and give us some more information on this. Dude, we have been waiting on the PTR for like literally a month, man. Oh my god.
It's not just the hardcore scene that has witnessed a revival on the classic servers.
It's also
I
been
feel
normal.
as though this has very much fallen to the wayside, but regular classic era servers are seeing a huge boom in players.
I think the thing about this, though, is that there's just not been much coverage from like many content creators on like non-hardcore, so people think like non-hardcore is not alive, but it's actually thriving. There is a ton of people playing like non-hardcore as well, for sure.
No, it's not just people semi-AFKing on their bug mounts with Thunder Furies in capital cities, though there are certainly a lot of them. It's people coming back for battlegrounds, open world PvP, raiding, and leveling on entirely new characters.
That's cool.
Despite every issue that there is with a server stuck on the last phase of content with a promise of no further updates, people are willing to come back and hit that new character button and just start over again. It's
the fact that people actually want to like play on a server that's stuck on phase 6 is pretty cool. It's genuinely pretty cool, because a lot of the joy and like fun about like, you know, progression, a lot of the fun things about like vanilla is like the progression, going from like, you know, phase 1 to phase 2, progressing your character through and through. This server, like the current era servers, are stuck at the latest progression, so next Rama, so everything is out. So a lot of people already have the gear, but people are still leveling, which just shows how much people really like this game and want to play it, right?
Seems clear to me that it's not just hardcore players who are making a home in vanilla once again, and I believe both crowds are after something which cannot be achieved by one singular new server release. What I'm saying is, even though we have the hardcore servers confirmed, which is great and all, is it also time for a no changes-ish 2019 vanilla classic fresh?
That could be cool. Genuinely, I'm a big fan of hardcore, but I will say, my heart would be very happy if we could see like a fresh vanilla with like very few changes and a patch progression. Instead of having like, you know, the itemization of the final patch, if there was patch progression with gearing, that would be very fun too, okay? I'm a big fan of hardcore, really love it, but that would definitely be a super fun thing as well.
In today's video, I'll be checking out the growth of non-hardcore servers, going into why people are choosing to revisit now, and ultimately why Blizzard should consider more than just the hardcore servers for the good of the game. Let's go back though. Imagine how it was in 2019. Classic World of Warcraft is finally releasing. You've cleared your entire calendar for 2 weeks. You have your healthy diet of Doritos and Mountain Dew prepared. You're physically and mentally ready to smash this game, and you are a ripe young age of 28.
I feel personally attacked about this. I actually feel personally attacked by that sentence right there, okay? There is nothing better though than a fresh vanilla, man. As a person that has played a lot of private servers, I love my fresh, okay? I really do like that stuff. So that's something I'm looking forward to, guys.
To go back to simpler times. I guess really none of this should have been a surprise. Vanilla has been popular seemingly forever now.
It has.
And even compared to TBC and Wrath of the Lich King, it really does offer a totally unique experience.
It does.
40-man raids, world buffs, no flying, insane stacking of buffs, questionable class balance, PvP ranking, a huge open world, and so much more. I
feel like what makes vanilla though is the fact that it's not like balanced. It is what it is. It doesn't pretend to be something that is not. It is an unbalanced mess. But that's a part of it, right? Vanilla is just how it is.
Probably heard some of those and recoiled at the thought of going back to
Look
it.
at this, though.
Others are waiting for a chance to go back and do them all again. If you can say one thing about vanilla, is that it really doesn't try to cater to everyone. And if somebody hates something, there's going to be someone else that loves it.
Either you hate it or you love it. It is what it is, but it is a great goddamn game.
Even still, it's kind of amazing how many people are going back to these servers.
Oh, yeah.
And it's always difficult to know exactly how popular any realm is, given we don't have official numbers from Blizzard.
True.
But there are some ways we can estimate it. Even just logging into a server and eyeballing
Seeing
it
people
is a
everywhere.
reasonable starting point.
If you log into a game and you see people running around everywhere, people are playing it. And that's what you want to see in MMO.
walk
Right.
through Stormwind and Orgrimmar between around 8:30 AM to 8:45 on a Wednesday morning. Also, there were no world buffs dropping at this point in time. If I'm making a video about these servers being popular, this is potentially one of the worst times I could have possibly picked to get a view of lots of people being logged in. And honestly,
He's in the
I
morning, so he's logging in like 8:44 in the morning, I
believe
guess.
how many players were there in Stormwind, Orgrimmar, leveling zones, or just throughout the world. This was on the Firemore round cluster on Europe, by the way. There isn't even anything weird going on here with people from different time zones being online now. These are the classic era non-hardcore realms in the morning on a weekday.
That's cool.
And dare I say it, this looks pretty good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, if Stormwind looked like this on a morning during actual Classic, I'd be kind of happy with it. And I don't...
There was like a lot fewer people back in the day than we are used to nowadays. Nowadays, we are really spoiled with how many players we have on each server, man. That's for sure.
Have an active NA account to go and check, but I'm told their most active server cluster is Whitemane, and it's quite a similar story.
Not the ads.
Also, in case
We love ads, don't we, chat? Oh my god, I love that Twitch is just pushing ads more and more. It feels ad, man.
you are wondering, the PvP clusters are a lot more active. I suppose I should mention this now, but servers on Error are linked together.
They are
this
clusters.
will contribute to how many players you are meeting in the world. This happened sometime after Error servers were made to boost player encounters within the game.
Dude, I never would have realized that the Arrow servers would be popping off. I remember when they had the whole option of cloning your characters. I think it was for like $10 or $15 or something like that. I didn't even consider doing it. Even though I had like a rank 14 rogue, I was like, nah, there's no way. People will never play on this. And here we are. Arrow servers popping off, right?
This is different from merging too, as you'll see players with their
It was
own...
$40. I think it was like really expensive at first. Then the player, like obviously everybody that freaked out about it said that it was ridiculous. And then they lowered it to like $10 or something like that, which is still... I still think it should have been free.
Maybe you should try getting a job.
Okay. Well, it was expensive for me. Okay.
name and then their realm name after. The PvE realms are less active
Thank you
in
for the
general
sub,
and
Easy.
are all linked together too, be it on EU or NA, so you can pick any of them
Thank you
if
for
you
the
want
sub.
to play on PvE, it doesn't matter. The RP realms are not part of any cluster, which is why the hardcore players have gone there. Anyways, back over to Firemore. I went and had a check on the auction house to see whether there were many items being posted and how much they were going for. There were some 30,000 items in total and some pretty reasonable or even cheap prices for things such as arcane
40 gold for Arcane Crystal is about what it was, I think, on
Crystal,
Classic.
Black Lotus, Elemental Earth or
44
Fire,
gold for
and
Lotus.
so on. I also had a character over on Golemag Horde to check out how things were looking for the Reds. Golemag is on the
Thank you, Huntus, for the 2 months.
same cluster as Firemore, by the way.
Thank you.
Again, there were plenty of people occupying Orgrimmar and chilling on top of the bank. The auction house had nearly 25,000 items, and again, some pretty sensible prices.
Yeah.
I also flicked through some leveling zones on /who for both Horde and the Alliance. And as suspected, there are a ton of players just doing some plain old vanilla WoW leveling.
So this ain't even hardcore. This is just normal people leveling on the hardcore servers. Maybe 1 to 6 is a little bit of a skewed thing because a lot of level 1s are just bank alts, right? So if you get a better idea of people that are leveling, probably 2 to 6 is better, right? Because a lot of bank
zones were
alts.
often capped or near enough, showing 50 players, and the later game zones also had a decent number of players progressing too.
Not
this,
bad.
to me, says there's pretty clearly a whole bunch of players who are just after the vanilla experience.
Yeah, cool.
They want to be able to do multiple dungeons, to trade, to group whenever, and if they die, they just resurrect and go on their merry way.
Just good old
and
vanilla.
I get it. It's way more chill than hardcore. You don't.
I will say I love hardcore, but I also do miss like genuine fresh leveling, normal, you know, you can do PvP, STV, there's like battles going on. That's amazing too.
Have to worry about losing your character or going again.
40 people
happy
at
to
Midlands,
get a dungeon run going without that worry of being griefed. And perhaps biggest of all, there's just a lot more going on at the end game.
Yep,
there
for
are
sure.
more raids running, and it's less min-maxy or gatekeepy, whatever you want to call it. Not that
hardcore rating is definitely, from what I understand of people like that's been doing it, it's really gatekeepy and very sweaty because everybody's hardcore, right?
But these are a bad thing in hardcore settings. If you're raiding and its death equals delete and you've invested hundreds of hours into your character, you can bet people are going to want to see a certain level of commitment from all the active raiders. But during the regular endgame, this isn't really a concern. Also, Warcraft Logs still maintains a page where the data is actively populated from error servers, so we can see how many players to this day are choosing to raid on this version of the game. We're going to be looking at passes here, a pass being a single ranking for one boss kill over the past 2 weeks. You already know you're looking at vanilla when warriors are this far ahead, don't you? Anyways, over just the past 2 weeks, there's been about 68,000 passes total in Molten Core, 51,000 in Blackwing Lair, 42,000 in AQ40, and about 74,000 in Naxxramas.
That is so fun. I mean, it's because it's the final phase, so people are just doing Nax, right? Obviously. That is so cool, though. That is a lot of, like, parses. And these are only the things that are recorded, right? So there's probably some people, like, not, you know, recording their parses or uploading them, whatever. So that's just the things that we can see.
These are from all passes logged globally.
Damn.
Here's another way of putting that. So if Naxxramas has 74,000 passes and is a 15 boss raid, that's kind of similar to saying 4,933 people have done Naxxramas over the past 2 weeks, or have...
That's a lot. And that's just the things that have been uploaded to Warcraft Logs, right? As I said.
Or cleared it at least. And if you consider a raid is 40 people, that's about 123 40-man raids having done Nax over the past 2 weeks.
A lot of parses.
Which is not too bad, actually. People are definitely...
Gressel! That's that item that went for like 200,000 gold in the GDGP in vanilla, or like classic vanilla, whatever.
The endgame content in vanilla era. I think the popularity of the raids is pretty normal too. A lot of people are coming back to the game, they want to check it out, so they start off with Molten Core. There's less people doing Blackwing Lair and AQ40 because, I mean, well, Nax is out.
Why would you?
And then Nax is the most popular because it's the end of the end game in vanilla. In terms of PvP, there was less action compared to leveling or PvE, and it seemed as though Warsong Gulch was the most popular battleground, at least outside of weekend events. This, again, makes sense.
Oh my god, why are the names... This is so wide. It's like he stretched out the icons or whatever.
Which is the smallest battleground, and in total only needs 20 players to start. I believe there is cross-faction battlegrounds in Era 2, so this should help games start more regularly. Remember, in Classic there's no experience from battlegrounds, and Blizzard has recently announced they will be doing a ranked reset.
Oh yeah, they are doing that. So like the ranking thingamajig will be changed in some way. We don't really know what way yet, but they did announce that there will be some sort of a change in regards to that, right?
So people in Battlegrounds, when I'm doing this video, are the hardcore Battleground enjoyers who are playing just for fun and not as much for ranking.
Wait, are they playing for fun?
Prior to this announcement, I'm confident in saying I would be seeing more people PvPing. The leveling zones were plenty busy though, so you should expect world PvP, just don't expect it to be fair. I mean, you already know there's gonna be...
World PvP is never fair, okay? Like, that is like the only time where world PvP is somewhat fair is in a fresh server, where nobody has max levels, where everybody is still leveling. That's the only time you will overall find the most fair world PvP. You know, it's just not how it goes, man. In the world of Warcraft, it ain't fair, okay? But that's why a lot of people really like fresh as well, right? Because that's the most... It's like the essence of like vanilla with world PvP and stuff like that, you know?
Level capped rogues lurking in Stranglethorn Vale.
Oh yeah.
It's vanilla open world PvP.
Fully
it ain't fair. So the question is, why are people making a move back to a no changes, no updates, last phase vanilla server now?
Because it's fun. People like it, and the thing about vanilla is because there's always like a boom in like the interest for vanilla after like a year or two. You know, like the new server has kind of died off a little bit. You know, people are kind of like not really playing anymore, and then suddenly there's like a boom in interest again, and people get really, really hyped to play vanilla again, right?
Best reason, honestly, this is the option that exists if you want to play it. You know, on the subreddit,
it is the
I've
best
already
option
seen
too.
a bunch of posts cropping up about TBC2 recently.
It's a cycle,
100% kept that on error to anticipate future demand. Maybe it's not too late, but it just feels like a missed opportunity.
I will say I'm still so intrigued to hear how they will change the ranking system. I still think it should be very prestigious to get the ranking items because they are extremely good. Like, it shouldn't be something everybody can really get, but I'm looking forward to see how they're gonna like look at that and then change that. As a person who has done that, I really do hope that it's still going to be difficult to attain. I don't think it should be something everybody could get, right? Because if everybody can get anything in the game, it removes a little bit of the coolness factor of it, right? So yeah, they need to remove the honor decay. Maybe just lower the honor decay a little bit. I would say the decay is what makes it very, very tedious and very, very not fun to rank. Because whenever you start ranking and you get above rank 10 or 11, the decay gets so fast and so high that you cannot stop playing. You have to keep playing at that point, right? It should still be really hard to rank, but maybe it's very extreme, how the ranking has always been, right? Perhaps fix caps with unlimited spots to remove pool boosting. I do think that's a good idea, yeah. Looking into like the way that the bracket stacking is being done and the pool boosting, and perhaps maybe as well lower the decay a little bit instead of making it as extreme as it is, right? Still have a decay to be there, so you will still get punished if you don't play, but just not as an extreme way, right? I don't know. We're gonna see how they change it though, but I do still think it should be very. It should still be difficult, you know. It should still be difficult for sure.
Is also a very different experience to Wrath. I feel as though I kind of already have my mind made up about Wrath as an expansion, despite not being all the way through, and it seems as though many players didn't quite appreciate to what extent it really changed the core fundamentals of the game. Still, I'll wait towards the end before making that video. And as popular as hardcore has been, it's just very different from that standard vanilla WoW formula.
I like hardcore though.
You can't do things such as trading or grouping, not to mention having one life. These can all be deal breakers. What we've just looked at seems to tell a story that whilst there is a demand for hardcore WoW, there is equally many players who just want to play your standard vanilla. And while standard vanilla is currently not on the cards, hardcore is.
Maybe you should try getting a job.
So here is what...
I mean, we do know that there's some sort of fresh vanilla coming out non-hardcore. They talked about the Season of Mastery, not 2, but they're doing like a new version of whatever it is, right? So it probably will have some changes, or we know it will have some changes. So it won't be like a, you know, pure pristine vanilla. But I would definitely hope that there would be some sort of a... I would hope that there would be patch progression, like in terms of gear itemization. I think that could be really, really nice, because I think the patch progression could make it a lot more fun. We'll see, though, whenever we know more about that, too, right? Thank you for the sub, Godsend.
I think people who are after fresh kind of want hardcore realms to be that fresh experience, when in reality, they should be something completely different. No trading, restrictions on grouping and so on are all part of what makes hardcore WoW what it is. It might be different in other games, they might have different names for it, but it's under this formula the challenge has reached this popularity in the first place.
At least for the time being with hardcore, that is how it got popular, with the current rule set, right? Which is why a lot of people probably won't be very happy with official hardcore, because it won't have that rule set. I mean, there is no way Blizzard would like limit an MMO in terms of how they it's played in that regard, right? So you probably will still have to use the add-on if you want to play the solo self-found rule set. I don't think it's going to be standardized, but we will see. Obviously, we will know more when the PTR comes out and stuff. Hardcore without trade, dungeons, action house, mailbox restrictions is pointless IMO. I think a lot of people definitely agree with that. I do think solo self-found is what makes it really fun too, but I doubt that Blizzard will release it in that regard, right?
Yes, hardcore is more single player than World of Warcraft is typically.
It is.
And no, the game was not made to be played like this. This is why we're getting separate realms for it. And there are things that suck about hardcore too, such as queuing for named mobs, enchanting just straight up not being viable to level due to needing rods from black.
Those things do suck, but you can do those things if you duo, right? So if you can unlock enchanting and stuff like that if you do a duo challenge, I suppose, right? It's going to be bracketed trading 1 to 9, 10 to 19, etc. I think that could be quite cool, something like that, yeah. But people will obviously abuse it still.
Do we throw away some of the core aspects of hardcore just to make these things possible again? I don't think you do. What if you had the blacksmithing rods on enchanting vendors where you could trade in some materials for them?
Could do that.
And grouping for name mobs is going to be inviting 4 random people around you. You all spam a macro, you get the tag, you say thank you, you disband, and that is it. It's
Perhaps.
just not really that great. Why not add additional named mobs for low-level quests that
It's
can
a
drop
different
the
experience.
quest items? There's Gold Tooth in Fargo Deep Mine.
Oh, God.
Hey, let's add Silver Tooth and Bronze Tooth. All of them can drop the quest item, and 3 different spawn locations will be...
I think that's a little bit silly, right? You shouldn't change all the fundamentals of like how the game really works in that regard, I think. But it's too many tooths, right? Let's be honest.
more than enough.
Fargo Deep, yeah, that's the wrong cave, isn't it? Yeah, that's not the. That's like that's the late gate. That's the one in the eastern part, isn't it?
Not create bottlenecks. You may have noticed with the launch of Wrath of the Lich King and beyond, Blizzard specifically split players up into different zones.
Actually, is it not Fargo Deep? Where is Fargo Deep? I don't know. Just get to Jasperlode. Oh, Jasperlode is the one in the east. Okay, makes sense.
Wrath, Borean Tundra or Howling Fjord, Katawas Hydrol or Vashir, and so on. I mean, this is going to be effort.
It's below
with adding
Goldshire.
extra
Okay, so
mobs
that
and
is the one with
updating the quest
okay.
text, so don't expect it to happen or anything, but hey, I think it would fix the problem. It's just by now we've had 2019 Classic where you can group and trade, Season Mastery where you can group and trade, Era where you can group and trade, TBC where you can group and trade, Wrath of the Lich King where you can group and trade, and now we have a server where this might not happen and it's a problem. I don't know. I think we could try something different and it might not be a bad thing. And yes, of course, there will be hardcore enjoyers who are skipping it at the moment because of the rules. I'm not saying these people don't exist. It's just you can actively see how many people are going by the rules at the moment, even if they are not perfect.
I think people kind of have to use the rules as well, but I do agree with the sentiment that like the hardcore, you know, the hardcore movement grew up because of this add-on. It was a big part of what made it really, really popular. Hardcore has been around forever, though. It's not the add-on that, like, you know, revolutionized it. Hardcore. It's always been like a game mode. But I do think there's a lot of people that are just interested in only having death equals delete and nothing else, right? There's also a lot of people that don't agree with that, but that's really how it goes when it comes to these kind of things. You can't please everybody. The main thing you can do is make sure you please the main majority of people, and then the minority will probably be very, very angry. So I do think Blizzard will go down the route of minimal changes to the gameplay itself, not going to restrict many of the actual options for hardcore, and if you do so desire to play in a specific way, like, you know, restricting grouping or trading, you can do so at your own regard. I do think something that could be quite cool in this way is maybe incentivize certain playstyles with achievements, right? So you play in a certain way, maybe you play solo self-found, maybe you don't trade with people, maybe you do an Iron Man with no green items, and you get an achievement when you get max level to sort of be like, hey man, I got this, and I made it all the way in this regard. And that way it could incentivize people to do certain things. Will they change? Will they do that? Maybe, maybe not, but I don't think they're going to change the fundamentals of the game, right?
And they won't ever be perfect, by the way.
We'll
There
see.
is a saying, don't sacrifice something good for perfect.
Yeah.
What we have at the moment is good. It's really good, in fact.
Yeah.
But it is clear all the same that the standard vanilla enjoyers have been growing alongside those who like hardcore.
Yeah.
Why is it only one of them is getting what they want? Because you won't be able to keep both crowds happy with the same servers.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure about that.
For sure.
Do vanilla fans just have to
Turtle
wait?
WoW's nice medium. You can trade a group with people within 5 levels or so. I think that's a cool idea too. Yeah. I think that's a cool idea too. I think a lot of people have been very happy with the rule sets of Turtle WoW. I have never played Turtle WoW myself, so I can't really speak much on that. But I do know a lot of people have really been liking the way that they have done the rule sets on that server. Mayo, what's up, man?
For the next seasonal server later this year instead. Well, it'll be a fresh where you can
I haven't,
trade,
chat.
group,
For real.
all of that stuff. I think we can safely assume that, but who knows what other changes it will have.
Okay.
I mean, imagine the thought
Maybe on
of a
Tuesday,
warrior
Realm.
not doing 4 times the damage of half the classes in the game. Who would want to play that, right?
Yeah.
Or should there just maybe be, well, a normal fresh? There are,
Normal?
of course, potential issues, such as splitting the player base for one. We've already got so many iterations of World of Warcraft.
Dude, there is like the WoW player base. It's already divided. It is getting more and more split, man. Every single month there's something new coming out.
Do we really need more? And it creates competition for people's attention in your own game, and that just doesn't seem very sensible. Then again, whatever you do, someone is going to have a problem with it.
True.
Overall, I just hope for hardcore servers we can play launch day or after 6 months, and it's fundamentally the same experience.
Yeah.
And that's going to mean it's different from vanilla, which will mean it's not for everyone.
Yep.
And I think that is okay. Also,
No matter what you do, you cannot please everybody. What you can do is sort of please the main majority of people, right? That's the main thing. Classic Plus, please. I think a lot of people would like that, right? I'm on the fence with, obviously I would like hardcore, but for a new vanilla server, I would either want like, you know, pure vanilla, minimal changes, or go down the other route and do like a really, really Classic Plus super hyper thing, right? Not just Classic Plus where, hey guys, we're gonna increase the experience gain on leveling and make the raids harder. Talking about SOM here. I don't think that was very, very good. But Classic Plus could definitely work well if they did it in a different way.
But I think the amount of people just taking on plain vanilla are worth noticing too. It might not have been as prominent of a rise as
hardcore. SOM was better than vanilla even? I don't think so personally. I was actually not completely against the leveling being a little bit faster, not to the extreme that they did it. But I wasn't a big fan of the raids just being kind of harder, because I don't think hard raiding is what makes vanilla good, and I don't think that's what makes it would make it more interesting. Maybe newer raids or dungeons and different ways of doing the raids and stuff like that could be interesting, but not just making them more difficult. I don't think that's necessarily something that vanilla needs, more difficult raids. Maybe new and different raids for a Classic Plus, like a pirate raid or a Scarlet Crusade raid or a Grim Patrol or something like that, whatever the heck, but nothing that's like harder, right, like that.
But it's clear that a lot of players want that. That's all for the thoughts today, though. Just a bunch of things.
Yeah, they were optionally harder after Black One Lair, which I think is definitely good. AQ40 was like a hard mode you could turn on, which that I actually think is quite cool. But the way that Molten Core was just more difficult, nah. Right.
I wanted to say about vanilla doing well and the hardcore servers in general.
Good video
Any
though from
thoughts you
Willie.
have about all of this?
Interesting.
Drop it down below. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in.
Nice.
And I'll see you all in the next one.
Good video by Willie though. I do think it's very, very true the way that he's explaining that, like, it's. I think a lot of people are just like so much on the hardcore hype that they haven't realized that the normal servers also are popping off as well. There's not as many content creators covering it though, so people aren't super aware of it, but they definitely are popping off too. I just really like the low fantasy setting of vanilla compared to the super high fantasy of the later expansions. This, very much, I agree with this. I like a very simple fantasy style, right? You know, knights and dragons and like just nothing super duper crazy. And I know what you're gonna say, but Guzu, Cthulhu is an old god and whatnot. Yeah, but it doesn't feel as extreme as it does nowadays, right? I do really like the simplicity of vanilla, and I do think that that's what makes it very, very awesome. Even not so much only with the story and with the characters, also just with the classes. The classes are simple, the mechanics are simple, but they feel fun. Whenever you press an eviscerate on a rogue and it crits, it feels amazing, right? It feels super good. But yeah, good video by Willie. Very, very amazing. I'll link it right here, guys. Support Willie. Check him out. He's almost at 150k subs. Absolutely popping off with the content again, which is amazing to see.